Hello mga ka-learners! It's another day to learn something new. I have some questions for you. Is there any idle land in your backyard? Would you like to grow vegetables so that you wouldn't need to go out to the market anymore and save money? Or maybe you can sell your homegrown vegetables to earn additional income. If you answer yes to one of these questions, then watch on, because this episode is for you. In this lesson, we will explain what fertilizers are, differentiate organic and chemical fertilizers, and explain their importance to farming, and discuss the advantages of using both organic and chemical fertilizers in farming. So you want to grow your own garden. Where do you start? The first thing to know about growing your garden is to check the health of your soil. You have to make sure that the soil is healthy enough so that the plants you will grow will receive the nutrients they need from the soil. How do you make sure that the soil is healthy? Let's look at the following scenarios. First scenario, here is Mang Teban. Mang Teban is having difficulty in growing vegetables. I am having difficulties in growing my vegetables. It involves the use of fertilizers. What are fertilizers? Fertilizers are things you put in the soil to give food and nutrients to the plants. The nutrients in the soil can be used up through repeated planting. Fertilizers replace the lost nutrients in the soil. So, what seems to be Mang Teban's problem? I use chemical fertilizers so that my vegetables will grow fast and yield good harvests. It was going well in the beginning, but after a few years, the crops planted were not growing as big and healthy as they used to. My harvest started to decrease too. Even if I added more chemical fertilizers, it did not improve my vegetable crops. Somehow, my land has been getting infertile. What could be the source of Mang Teban's problem? Yes, it may have something to do with his use of chemical fertilizers. Because he only used chemical fertilizers, the soil in his farm became unfit for planting. The organic material and soil bacteria of the land had been used up by plants, and they had no other means of getting those again. Note that organic material and soil bacteria are very essential for plant growth and development. Chemical fertilizers cannot supply some of the important nutrients that can usually be naturally found in the soil's organic matter. Let's go to the second scenario. Here is Mang Roger. I don't use chemical fertilizers. I use only organic fertilizers made of decomposed plants and animal wastes. I am wondering why my vegetables are not growing well and my harvests are not as rich as I had expected. What could be wrong? Mang Roger, unlike Mang Teban, used compost on his soil. What is compost? Compost or humus is made up of organic matter from dead plants and animals, animal manure, and food leftovers. This organic matter is acted upon by soil bacteria and breaks down into compost. Compost provides some nutrients like nitrogen, which are needed by the plants. It also improves the quality of the soil. You see the difference between Mang Teban and Mang Roger? One used only chemical fertilizer and the other used only compost or organic fertilizers. That is why the nutrients in both their soil are incomplete. So, what should Mang Roger and Mang Teban do to solve their problems? They should use a balance of both organic and chemical fertilizers to make sure that their plants get all the nutrients they need. This will result in healthier plants and richer harvests. Let's check what we have learned from the problems of Mang Teban and Mang Roger by answering the following questions. Number 1. What are fertilizers? Number 2. What is compost? Number 3. Why did Mang Roger and Mang Teban have problems growing healthy plants even though they use fertilizers? Compare your answers with mine. Number 1. Fertilizers are substances applied to the soil to provide nutrients for plants. There are two kinds of fertilizers: chemical fertilizers and organic fertilizers. Each kind provides certain nutrients needed by the crops. Number 2. Compost is made of decayed organic matter such as leaves, dead plants, animal manure, food leftovers, and grass cuttings. It is used as an organic fertilizer that is rich in nitrogen and soil bacteria. Number 3. The two farmers, Mang Teban and Mang Roger, had problems growing healthy vegetables because they did not use both chemical and organic fertilizers on their crops. Their crops thus lacked some nutrients that they needed to grow healthy and yield rich harvests. Since some nutrients can only be found in either of the two kinds of fertilizers, they should use both chemical and organic fertilizers for the crops to get all the nutrients needed. With Mang Roger and Mang Teban's problems, we learned that there are two types of fertilizers. Number 1. Chemical fertilizers. These fertilizers contain elements or minerals that plants need for normal and healthy growth. The most important of these minerals are phosphorus and potassium. The improper use of chemical fertilizers may contaminate bodies of water near the farm such as lakes, groundwater, rivers, or fish ponds. The substances in the fertilizer can harm or poison the fish and other animals that live within or near the area. Excessive use of some artificial fertilizers can also harm the plants. Number 2. Organic fertilizers. Organic fertilizers are made of compost or humus. Compost is made through the decomposition of organic matter by soil bacteria. Organic matter may be made up of dead plants or animals, manure, and/or food leftovers. Organic matter is rich in nitrogen. Organic fertilizers can be easily made from home. The process is called composting. Compost or humus is an important component of the soil. It has various functions. It holds and keeps the nutrients and minerals in the topsoil for the plants to use. It supports soil bacteria or microorganisms that maintain the plants. It holds water or moisture in the soil. It improves the characteristics of the soil and allows air to penetrate the plant roots. In this lesson, we have learned that in order to ensure the health of the plants and a bountiful harvest in our gardens, we need to combine the use of organic and chemical fertilizer. Combining their use will result in an increased harvest. It will also increase the resistance of plants against diseases and pests. Let's summarize what we have learned so far. Fertilizers replenish the depleted nutrients in the soil and help increase crop harvests. Organic fertilizers improve the soil's characteristics and provide plants with nutrients, especially nitrogen. Chemical fertilizers supply the plants with nutrients lacking in organic fertilizers. They can supply potassium, phosphorus, and other minerals that plants need. The use of both organic and chemical fertilizers will provide the plant crops with most of the essential nutrients they need. Sufficient supply of plant nutrients will make the plant crops healthier and produce richer harvests. And that is one of the steps in growing your own garden. Hope you learned about the different types of fertilizers, how to use them, and how they benefit the soil. Watch the next episodes to continue our journey into backyard gardening. See you again, mga ka-learners!